How can anxiety be useful in public speaking? I mean, is that even possible? Oh, yes, it is. I believe anxiety is a superpower that you can use to become the best speaker possible. I'll share with you how I've used my anxiety in order to do this, and it's going to help you a lot. For my entire career, I've actually been extremely filled with anxiety before a lot of presentations. I'm going to share with you how I've utilized anxiety in order to make it so that I'm an even better presenter, performer, and speaker. I hope that this is helpful for you, and I hope that these are some things that you can implement right away. Number one, I want you to change your words. Change your words from fear and anxiety to excited. I know that may just sound like semantics, but no, it's real. If you start saying to everybody, hey, I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm anxious, I'm fearful, yeah, then you will be. But instead, if you were to change the words and you were to be like, hey, I'm excited for this opportunity. This is something that's really unique. Yes, then things will change for you because your mindset shifts. It's important to change your words. Feeling excited about something instead of fearful or anxious, that will be a very important start to your journey to channeling your anxiety while you're a public speaker. I've spoken in front of 10,000 people, 20,000 people, and sometimes even 10 people is more nerve-wracking. What's interesting about this concept about changing your words, I learned it from studying Olympians. I heard that Olympians, because they only have one shot to do that one thing they've practiced their whole life, essentially, they only have one chance. I remember reading that people would ask Olympians, are you nervous? How do you feel? And they'd say, no, I'm excited. I love that. They changed that language. They actually had to train their mind while they were practicing before the big event. It's too late if they don't think about it till that moment. They have to work on their minds living on that stage, that hugest stage in the world when the Olympics happens every 4 years. And these guys have to prepare themselves to say, I am excited for this opportunity. Otherwise, they won't sleep, they won't eat, they probably won't even go. So how can you change it from fear and anxiety to excited? So the second thing I'd like to talk about is that anxiety as a speaker is born of a couple of different things. First of all, your lack of preparation, your concern about what the audience will think of you, and perhaps a desperation for success. Let's talk about each of these. Let's talk about lack of preparation first. Have you ever thought about a speech and how nervous you can get? Wake all night? I know I've been there. I've done that. That's happened to me even at certain times that I thought, wow, I should have fallen asleep because I just traveled this far. There was one moment that really happened to me and it paralyzed me. It was because I was ill-prepared. That was when I actually got to speak for the National Speakers Association. I was the opening keynote speaker. This was years ago, and I launched my new message that I called at the time, The Promise, the Engagement Experience. I'd never given that talk before. Thought about it a lot. I walked around and tried to work on that speech, but I never actually prepared it, sat down, and cranked it out. I thought, when I get in front of my peers, 2,000 professional speakers, it'll just come to me. Bad idea. I could not sleep prior to that event for probably weeks. And I don't know why I didn't just take the time to do it. But the anxiety filled me so much that I could barely go up there on that stage. It was terrifying. Now here's the thing. That speech did not go well. But they didn't boo. I still got a standing ovation because I think they felt bad for me. I did okay, but it was not great. The lack of preparation was noticed. I learned from that experience that all I had to do was prepare just a little bit better and actually go through my speech instead of thinking about it. There's a big difference. With preparation on my mind, I then got to speak to the $1 Million Roundtable. MDRT is considered one of the great feathers in the cap of any speaker. This is in front of thousands of financial planners. I got to speak to them as their opening keynote. Do you think I just thought about the speech that time? No, I prepared. I had it all set. I had it down to the minute, so I knew exactly what I was going to say. I didn't memorize it. I just got ready. I went over it multiple times, and it was hard to crank it out like that. In fact, I even set up little events where I had to do this speech in front of other people in order to be ready. This changed my anxiety into excitement. This changed my lack of preparation into being fully prepared. So just like an Olympian, I was ready for my big stage, and when that moment came, it led to multiple other events that were so awesome that I got to do because of that preparation. I also made a video that might be helpful to you in preparation and practice. I call it, How Long Before a Speech Should You Begin Practicing? Because, sometimes you might think, well, I can just practice because it's next week. But if you know that you're going to speak a year in advance, you can really work on this and refine it and make it great. I hope that you'll check out that video that's on the same channel. The next item of concern that a lot of anxiety comes from for speakers before an audience is the concern of what the audience will think about you. Now, that's a natural thing. I know that when I'm asked to speak for teachers, that's very intimidating. Well, it's mostly intimidating because they usually say, this guy is coming in here to teach teachers how to teach. And I don't even have a degree. I didn't even go to college. How do you think I feel? And so I remember the first time speaking to teachers, I thought, I am so unqualified. This is nuts. Why would they have me here? And then as I started to speak, and I did my best presentation possible, I was really concerned about how they would look at me and see me and think if I was qualified to be there. It wasn't until afterwards that I was speaking to the teachers. They came up one by one telling me their dreams and their goals, and they wish that they had written their book or they could come up with a great speech they could give. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I've written a book and now I'm giving this speech. I guess I'm qualified to be here. It helped me to feel a little bit better about myself in terms of knowing that I had something to offer to them. So that helped me subside a lot of that anxiety. The other example I have to give you is performing for billionaires. For about a decade, I was known as the performer for the billionaires, and this is why. When one billionaire saw me perform and they saw that I was well received by everybody from children to parents to grandparents and executives and religious people and everyone in between, they said, hey, we need to have that guy at our next event. And so the next thing I knew, I was being shared by all the people that are billionaires around the United States. That was an interesting gig. Imagine being flown around on private jets because they think that you're so great at what you do. I remember the first time performing for a group of billionaires. I thought, what am I doing here? I had a huge anxiety, concern about what they thought about me as an audience and so forth. And then I realized, oh, these are just normal people that have done extraordinary things. And the next thing I knew, they were sharing me with their friends, and I got to do events all over the world for these really influential people. It became a really neat thing for me in my career because I turned the anxiety into excitement, just like I said, but also knowing that I had something to offer that nobody else could do, and the billionaire audiences recognized that. Pretty cool. I also made a video about how to connect with an audience in a speech. And connecting with your audience in the speech, there's all kinds of techniques that you can use. But one of the things that I like to talk about is the fact that all of us have something unique that we need to share with the world. And when you discover that for yourself, you'll have way less anxiety as a speaker. So go check out that video, how to connect with an audience in speech. And then there's that feeling of desperation for success. Yes, this is something that causes great anxiety. If you seem like you're desperate, you're going to have a problem. If you have ever dated somebody, you know that this can be a problem. Desperation for success. I know when I was trying to find somebody to date and court and marry, the more desperate I seemed, the less anyone wanted to date me. Well, this is the same as for a speaker. If you seem like you're desperate on that stage, they will not want you. I've known for years different actors that have gone into an acting audition, and the person that's watching them through the camera could tell that they were desperate for the gig, and they never got the gig. It's only the actors that acted like, I don't need this, that the director was like, well, we need that guy. So how desperate do we seem for our success? Recently, I did a showcase for 100 meeting planners. This is the kind of thing where you would lose sleep the night before because you're thinking, gosh, if this goes well, I'm going to land all these events all over the world. I could barely sleep. And then I started to realize, wait a minute, I'm the only speaker at this event. They're just playing at this event for 3 days. I need to just relax. And so I laid there and I breathed and I thought and I meditated. Yeah, it was okay. I didn't want to appear desperate. I wanted to appear like I know what I'm doing. The anxiety left, it turned into excitement. The event went well. So anxiety fuels a few things. Let's talk about what those are. Number one, anxiety fuels super hyper focus. Yeah, if you've ever experienced a lot of anxiety, you know that you can funnel that into super focus to a point that you can get more done in one day or even in a couple hours than most people can get done in a week. And so one of the ways that I do that when I start to feel anxiety and I want to funnel it into this super hyper focus is I will actually force myself to do a gig, whether that means getting a gig or preparing for a gig. So let's say I want to get ready for filming this video and it causes me anxiety. How could I do that before this scheduled session that we have to film this? All I have to do is turn on a live stream and go live on social media. Boom, gig, hyper focus. Now I'm ready to do the video. It's the same with the stage. You can do that on a live stream and simulate doing a live gig. It's an awesome thing. Anxiety also fuels creativity. You know, painting yourself into a corner, that's the best way that you can start to create something. It's pretty interesting. I would like to sometimes book myself for groups that I normally don't speak for, like contractors or accountants. That hyper focuses me to create something brand new that they're going to like in particular, because maybe the normal material I would do, they won't like. So it forces me to create something. I painted myself into a corner. That's a good use of your anxiety. Another good use of anxiety, number 3, would be that it fuels practice. Yeah, I mean, nothing's better than knowing you have a gig that you have to do and you just start practicing like crazy. I've shared in other videos that I have a humongous opportunity coming up in about a year, and it's a show where I get to do a show for 2 weeks, my own show at a location in Utah. I'm so excited about it. And here's what it's forced me to do. Not only to hyper focus and hyper create, but also hyper practice. I'm so thankful that they gave me this long runway so that I can focus my anxiety into excitement and practice. And one more example about this very video that I'm making for you. I actually have extreme anxiety making these videos. This is hard for me. I don't know if it's hard for you to make videos, but a how-to video where I record batches of these, we usually do between 10 and 20 at a time. And all the videos are supposed to be at least 10 minutes long. That's crazy amount of content. So if we're doing 20 videos at 10 minutes a pop, that's 200 minutes worth of content. I know my voice is gonna hurt like it does right now. I know my back is gonna hurt like it does right now. But guess what? The anxiety turns into excitement. In fact, this morning I was so excited I could barely sleep. And it wasn't anxiety filled, it was excitement. Because guess what? I'm really grateful that I get to do this with you and help you with some of the things that I've gone through that we must share, I guess we do. Thank you for finding this video. What I hope that you'll do is you'll comment below what has helped you. I would love for you to subscribe to this channel and check out more of the videos that I know can help you to change your anxiety into excitement so that you can use your fear and anxiety as a public speaker as a true superpower.